You started the annual March for Babies in Melbourne, which attracts around 3,000 people a year. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, pro-life event in the country. Here's some footage of last year's event.
We're also here to reach out to their mothers, because we know there are a lot of abortions occur against the will of mothers. People talk about choice, but the most common response when asked why somebody has had an abortion is, "I had no choice." It's quite ridiculous. It's quite ridiculous. And thousands of women are still suffering. Thousands and thousands of women are still suffering. Well, here we are, talking about women suffering, and this crowd jump up.
That was quite a scary moment there. I was in the crowd and saw that happen. It was quite shocking. Bernie, what would happen if you or I jumped up onto the stage of a pro-abortion rally?
Well, I think we'd probably be ripped to pieces to start with, but the police would step in, we'd be arrested and taken away. There's no two ways about that. But there does seem to be a double standard, and we saw that about 10 years ago, in fact, when the march was attacked by ratbags, I think I would describe them as, and very violent ratbags. And there were people who had ribs broken. There were people who had various abrasions and bruises, and even my daughter was hit by these lunatics. The police stood back and watched. And fortunately, that hasn't happened since. But there still remains, for example, at the moment, we're trying to contact the police. They won't return our calls. So, Victoria is a very, very strange place right now. It's certainly not the place that I grew up in. Yeah. And I think that's very, very sad.
Well, that's why it's important that events like the March for the Babies continue, just to keep the public space open so that we are not intimidated into silence by people who will resort to the sort of violence that we just saw in that footage.